Welcome to our event today. This is the first, we hope, annual Veterans Day ceremony in recognition of veterans, sponsored by the Hawthorne Veteran Affairs Commission, commission that has been stood up about 6 months ago, and we are very happy and proud to present this event to you, and I want to thank you all for attending, and we have a very good crowd, so deeply appreciative. Let me begin by asking Pastor David to come up for a brief invocation, which actually isn't in your program, and I hope you all have a program which talks about the events. Obviously, we're going to be very close to the agenda on this because we know some people want to leave for the Redondo ceremony at 1300. So let me begin with Pastor David and a few invocation remarks.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here this morning. Forgive my dress. I'm working with the youth today, which is our future, and their future's today. So keep them in thought and prayer. Thank you for your service. I wanted to thank each and every one of you for your service, from the soldiers to the firemen to the policemen, all our leaders and volunteers. Our country is what it is because of you, and I pray that the people in this country will start to realize how fortunate they are to have men and women like you to serve this great nation. And I just like to say a few words. If we could just bow our heads for a moment. Lord, we just thank you for this day and your blessings and mercy to be upon these men, to protect their families, Lord, and cause them to prosper in all that they do. We thank you for our council. We thank you for our mayor. We thank you for everyone that's here, Father God, to give tribute to those who have given their lives to serve you for our country, and we thank you, Lord. Now may you bless them in the city, may you bless them in the country, may you bless them in the rising up and in the lying down. And for this day, we just give you thanks for another day of life to serve you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Okay, with that, we're going to begin the activities with a Pledge of Allegiance. I'm going to ask Commissioner of the Veteran Affairs Commission to come up and do the pledge, Carol Steinhauer. Before we actually do the pledge, I've just got a couple of comments I want to make known. I believe everybody in here, by and large, who's a veteran is aware of this, but I'm going to iterate it anyway. Based on the Defense Authorization Act of 2009, signed by President Bush on October 14th of 2008, Section 595 talks about military salute for the flag during the national anthem by members of the armed forces not in uniform. And it states that members of the armed forces and veterans who are present but not in uniform may render the salute in a manner provided for individuals in uniform. So the hand salute is appropriate. I believe all veterans know that. And when we get to the national anthem, we'd expect you to do so. All others who are not veterans would render the hand over the heart. Let's begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
All right, proper salute. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're going to ask Commissioner Kyle Orleman, Vice Chair of the Veteran Affairs Commission, to lead us in the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free
Thank you very much. Beautifully done. The next event on the agenda is a wreath ceremony. This is going to be a respect from the various veteran service organizations and the commission in honor of Veterans Day. So I'm going to ask initially Commissioner Ken Lester of the Veteran Affairs Commission to help me place the Veteran Affairs Commission and City of Hawthorne wreath up on the stage. I'd now like to ask the Vietnam Veterans of America, Chapter 53 of the South Bay, Vice President Kirk Gillette, and Commissioner Orleman to present the VVA wreath. And let me ask the VFW and VFW Auxiliary Post 2075, Commander Roger Morrissey and Commissioner Steinhauer to present their wreath. Thank you. Let me begin with an introduction of guests, and let me begin by first representing the Veterans Affairs Commission, which was established just about 8 or 9 months ago, appointed by the City of Hawthorne Mayor and council members. And the chair of the commission is myself. I'm Neil Gaffney. The vice chair is Kyle Orleman, who just rendered our national anthem. Commissioner Ken Lester, who assisted me with the wreath, and Commissioner Carol Steinhauer, who just assisted with the VFW. Now, for our honored guests, yes, please sit. We have as our keynote speaker today somebody who's been an ardent supporter of veterans, who attends all veteran-type events, and has been very graciously agreed to come by today and provide us with some important remarks. Representative Maxine Waters, Congressman Waters from the 43rd Congressional District. Lieutenant Dennis Sugrue, Deputy Commander of the LA District of the Corps of Engineers. Major William Rich, U.S. Army Reserve, and as a reservist, he teaches ROTC at UCLA 1 day a week, and the rest of his time as a civilian, he's a detective with the LAPD. Brian DeAndrea, Senior Vice President, Century Housing, who's been a gracious supporter, who's involved with helping veterans in housing, doing so down in the Long Beach area, a resident of Hawthorne, and been a generous contributor to our event today. Brian? City officials, Mayor-elect Alex Vargas, Councilwoman Olivia Valentine, Councilman Nilo Michelin, and Councilwoman Angie Reyes English. We also have a number of other people from the city with us. We have the treasurer, correct? The treasurer, David Patterson. Thank you. Police Chief Robert Fager. And the Director of Human Resources, who is a liaison on behalf of the city to the Veteran Affairs Commission, David Roberts. And you, sir.
I'll introduce myself, I guess. Avelino Valencia with State Senator Hall's office.
Thank you. We have some Veteran Service Organization officers. Commander Roger Morrissey, who just helped present the VFW. Where are you, Roger? Thank you. Kirk Gillette from the VVA, Post 53, the Vice President. He also helped present a wreath. Just recognizing some others here in the audience. In uniform, Lieutenant Colonel Fred Stewart, Air Force pilot, retired. And when we have recognition of veterans, we will recognize a special individual with us today involved in the Normandy invasion, Gerald Nibel. And Gerald is sitting here with the audience, and we'll recognize you later. Thank you. If there are any other guests I've missed, I apologize, but I only know who I know. A little bit about the significance of Veterans Day. You have a short excerpt in your program on the left-hand side, which talks about what Veterans Day is. The reality is Veterans Day started about 100 years ago as Armistice Day, commemorating every November 11th the armistice signed between the Allies of World War I and Germany. The cessation of hostilities on the Western Front of World War I took effect at 11 o'clock in the morning, the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month of 1918. This marked the official date of the end of the war, although there were some hostilities that continued thereafter. It was declared a national holiday in many Allied nations, and it was commemorating the members of the armed forces who were killed during the war. Many countries changed the name of the holiday just prior to or after World War II to honor veterans of that and subsequent conflicts. The United States chose the name All Veterans Day, later shortened to Veterans Day, to explicitly honor those who participated in other conflicts. Armistice Day remains the name of the holiday in many countries, France among others. Many parts of the world, people observe one or commonly a 2-minute moment of silence at 11 a.m. This is a sign of respect. The first minute is for the roughly 20 million who died in that war, and the second minute is to the dedicated to the living who were left behind. So we're moving the program so that we will hit that 1100 mark in about 17 minutes, so it's being paced. In the U.S., the function of Veterans Day is subtly different from that of other holidays. Instead of honoring war dead, Veterans Day honors all American veterans, living and dead. The official remembrance for those killed in action is Memorial Day, originally called Decoration Day, which originated in the years immediately following the Civil War. So that's our history lesson, and I just wanted people to have some sense of what this is about today. Let me begin the next topic by recognizing our veterans from past conflicts, and I'm going to ask Commissioner Lester to come up here and help us identify the various veterans of the various 60 or 70 years. But I do want to make sure we respect and honor Gerald Nibel, a World War II veteran, participated in Normandy, and I don't mean to slight any other World War II veterans in here, but we're going to ask all of you from that era shortly to stand up as well. Thank you. Thank you.
First off, we have, I'm going to do it by ears, so you can either stand up or raise your hand. I'd like to recognize the 1940 to 1950s veterans. stand up or raise your hands, please. Next, I'd like to recognize the 1950 to 1960 groups. Uh, 1960 to 1970s. 1970s to 1980. 1980 to 1990. 1990 to 2000. And 2000 to present. And thank you all for your service, and God bless.
So as certain people stood, I did notice there was some guests from a variety of other organizations. I see some Wounded Heroes of America people. Thank you for attending. Our interim city manager just walked in, Arnold Shadbeer. Thank you. And thank you again for all attending. So in the pacing of the program, it's now supposed to be pretty much 11 o'clock. So obviously, we're moving ahead very nicely. So our event, because I'm targeting 11 o'clock, we're going to add some of the stuff on the program a little earlier. So I'd like to read a letter of appreciation that came from Congressman Ted Lieu, who could not attend. Congress of the United States, House of Representatives, Washington, D.C., November 14, 2015. Dear friends, please accept my warmest wishes and congratulations as you gather at the Hawthorne Veteran Affairs Commission inaugural Veterans Day celebration and ceremony. I am delighted to join the Hawthorne Veteran Affairs Commission and the City of Hawthorne in honoring those who serve our country on a day when we are all reminded of their commitment to the values that make us a nation of free people. Our community owes all of our military veterans and the Hawthorne Veterans Affairs Commission and the City of Hawthorne an endless debt of gratitude for their tireless hard work and dedication. Congratulations and best wishes for a memorable event. Sincerely, Ted W. Lieu, Member of Congress. So our next event on the schedule, and let me just review the schedule with you for a minute. We're going to have both a keynote address shortly from Congresswoman Waters, looking forward to that. Then we're going to have a Skype presentation, which is why you see some of this equipment up here, from a Special Assistant to the Secretary of the Veterans Administration. And he will describe things going on at the West LA Veteran Administration Center there. He's got a PowerPoint, which I believe most of you probably picked up when you came in. He'll talk to that PowerPoint. This is a new publicly released document that was just posted last week on the VA website. I think you'll find it interesting, particularly many of you who use the VA Medical Center in West LA. We're going to have some raffle and prizes. And if you notice, we have some materials on a table over there that we put together. We're going to be looking at raffling them off with the little red tickets. So when we get to that point, if you haven't received a ticket when you came in, we'll get you a ticket and it'll go into the bowl and our commissioners will draw the winners. We'll have a musical interlude, which is going to be both a song, which is on the back of your PowerPoints. It's called America the Beautiful. We will also have Armed Forces Medley, where we'll be playing the songs of the different services as we move towards conclusion. At the end of the ceremony, we do have food and drink, really not refreshments. We have very generous donations from Jersey Mike's, who's provided sandwiches. We have the VFW, who's provided drinks. And we have cakes that we'll cut, provided by Costco. So we hope at noontime or as soon as we wrap up, which might be a little before, that you'll stay around and join us for the refreshments. And with that, I am pretty much out of the ad-libbing, and it's not 11 o'clock. So what I think I'd like to do in order to kind of keep this moving is kind of break the rule and observe a minute of silence a little earlier than perhaps 11 o'clock, so we can move on with the program. So what this means is that we're going to basically honor the war dead of World War I in the first minute, and in the second minute, we're going to honor all those who are living from past conflicts. So if I would, I'd just ask you to bow your heads for approximately 2 minutes, and then we'll continue with the program. Thank you. Now, let me continue with the program and our keynote address. Let me begin by introducing Congresswoman Maxine Waters. She represents the 43rd Congressional District, which includes various parts of South Central, Gardena, Hawthorne, Inglewood, Lomita, Lawndale, and Torrance. She's had the congressional seat for over 23 years, considered one of the most powerful women in American politics today. She's the ranking member of the House Financial Services Committee, responsible for oversight of the nation's housing market, financial regulatory agencies, banks, and financial institutions, as well as Wall Street. She's the first woman and the first African American of either party to serve as the top Democrat on this powerful committee. She helped lead the establishment of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau and the creation of the Offices of Minority and Women Inclusion at each of the federal agencies. She's involved in the forefront of the fight to keep families in their homes, advocating for stronger modification programs and oversight of mortgage services. Throughout her 37 years of public service, she's gained a reputation as a fearless and outspoken advocate for women, children, people of color, and the poor. She's an integral member of the Congressional Democratic leadership, serving as the member of the Steering and Policy Committee. She's also a member of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, as well as a member of the past chair of the Congressional Black Caucus. Please welcome Congresswoman Maxine Waters.
Good morning, Hawthorne. First, I'd like to thank Colonel Gaffney for that very kind introduction. It's so great to be here with all of you today as we celebrate the service and the sacrifices made by our nation's veterans. Colonel Gaffney, let me also thank you for your service to our country, for your leadership here in Hawthorne as chair of the Veterans Affairs Commission, and for all of your hard work for the veterans in our community. And I appreciate you inviting me here to speak today. Let me just say that if I sound a little strange, it is because I have laryngitis. And they said I should rest my voice, but I would not dare miss this event today. So if it's a little bit scratchy, you forgive me. The next time I see you, it perhaps will be better. I would also like to thank the mayor and all of the city council members for establishing this commission. I'd like you to know that Councilwoman Olivia Valentine first made me aware of it, and she has bugged me ever since and told me not to forget. that this event was going to take place here today. I'd like to thank all of the members of the commission who have agreed to serve. We appreciate your service, your volunteerism. This is extremely important to the city, and we're grateful to you for being here and for serving. I'd like to say to the veterans, there is not enough that we could do or say to honor your service to this country. We are appreciative for all that you have done, for the sacrifices that you have made, and we have a responsibility to make sure that we assist you in every way upon your return from having given service to this country. And while I would like a big applause for everybody, now is the time that we applaud all of our veterans. Would you please join me in a big applause? And let me just say to our service organizations, veteran service organizations that are represented here today, thank you for carrying on the work of ensuring that this country does everything possible to be of assistance to our veterans and keep us on point and aware of the work that we must do. A big round of applause to all of our service organizations. Ladies and gentlemen, although I serve now as ranking member of the House Financial Services Committee, I remember my time serving on the House Veteran Affairs Committee when I was first elected to the House of Representatives. To this day, I'm still very proud of the work that I was able to accomplish there. Specifically, now more than 20 years after its creation, the Center for Women Veterans is doing wonderful work, making sure the Department of Veterans Affairs effectively meet women's needs. I'm proud to have had a lead role in this center's establishment. The United States has a sacred promise with the men and women who have served our country in uniform, and we have an obligation to serve them not just when they're abroad and in harm's way, but also when they come home to their loved ones and to their families. So just as we vow to never leave a soldier behind on the battlefield, we must also vow never to leave our veterans behind when they come home. We must think about and work for their health care, their education, their housing, job training, and assistance. That, my friends, is a sacred vow that we must all commit to. So I want to talk to you about some of the issues facing veterans all over, but here in our community. As many of you know, Los Angeles County homeless population has risen 12% since 2013, and this dramatic increase is in spite of a reduction in homelessness nationally. This startling increase is no doubt connected to the fact that the greater Los Angeles area has the largest gap between wages and rental prices among all major cities nationwide. And of the homeless population in Los Angeles, 10% are veterans and former service members. Shockingly, 7 more veterans become homeless every day in the greater Los Angeles area. While we've made some progress towards tackling veteran homelessness in this region by housing 7,500 veterans in the last 2 years, we have to improve strategies, align resources, and finally, provide the level of investment needed to bring about an end to homelessness across all populations. And while discussing the many issues facing veterans today, I'd be remiss if I did not mention the challenges veterans encounter with health care here in the United States. That starts with ensuring that the VA is ready and capable to give veterans the prompt, quality care that they deserve. Time and time again, I hear stories of veterans who have challenges wading through the sometimes outdated and unresponsive bureaucracy to access the medical care and benefits they have earned. So I believe that we really do need to transform the VA into a 21st century system that is able to serve veterans and their families with high quality, innovative care that they deserve and they have earned. Let me just say that while I am focused on improving the VA, I'd like to say that there are many who work there who really do strive to give the services that our veterans need. And so when we point out that we need to have improvements, it's not that we're simply criticizing and blaming. We're simply saying that we have to do the best we absolutely can, and we can do better. By addressing veterans' health doesn't end with bringing accountability to the VA. In addition to that, we must ensure that veterans have the support and access to mental health care they need after they have served our country. The statistics are alarming. 22 veterans die each day as a result of suicide, which is more than 8,000 deaths per year, because even one suicide is one too many. Our Congress passed legislation requiring the VA to establish a 24-hour toll-free suicide hotline for veterans. The Veterans Crisis Line, 1-800-273-8255, press 1. Through the Veterans Crisis Line's confidential hotline, online chat, and text messaging service, more than 1.86 million calls and 39,000 texts have been answered, and more than 50,000 life-saving rescues have been made. But we need to do more to ensure that the health care and health screening that veterans need are accessible and available. When Congress returns to session, I will be introducing a bill that will provide veterans mental health care before suicidal thoughts are formed. My bill, the Veterans Mental Health Defense Act, will prioritize medical professionals and medical students with training and skills to treat veterans with PTSD and traumatic brain injury for acceptance into the National Health Service Corps, a program which currently enlists over 10,000 medical professionals and students that deliver much-needed health care all over the country. My legislation will also help to place these professionals in areas that are facing healthcare professional shortages and serve high populations for veterans. Lastly, one of the most important things we can do for our veterans when they return is to ensure that they will have the opportunity to live a fulfilling and successful life off the battlefield. That starts with providing vets a quality education. Unfortunately, bad actors in the for-profit education industry are taking advantage of our service members and their educational benefits. Therefore, in addition to the Veteran Mental Health Defense Act, I will also be introducing the Ensuring Education Quality for Veterans Act that would close a loophole that currently incentivizes for-profit colleges to take advantage of our veteran students. After sacrificing years of their lives abroad to protect our freedom, our nation's veterans have earned the right to attain a high-quality, affordable education here at home, one free of loopholes, without fraud and deception. I'm introducing these bills, and I'm committed to this work because I believe one of our greatest responsibilities in Congress is to ensure a better quality of life for our veterans. So today, I commend the millions of veterans who have answered their call to service, and I'm so grateful for their dedication and sacrifices they have made in serving our country. But we must hold up our side of the promise. We must ensure that every veteran has a roof over their heads and access to quality care that they need. And let me just say in closing, not only am I grateful for the service that have been rendered to our country by our veterans, I want you to know that my office is available to every veteran We get a lot of calls, and many of the calls have to do with disability benefits. And for some reason, it appears that there are those who would deny the benefits that the veterans deserve. I fight for full benefits for veterans, and we do a pretty good job. And not only did we force those to rethink their decisions about benefits, we go for full benefits, and we're pretty successful, and we get back benefits. And sometimes the awards are in the thousands of dollars, and we all celebrate in my office. The higher the benefit, the happier we are. Thank you very much.
I can't think of more apropos or inspiring remarks than what I just heard. I've heard Congressman Waters speak at other events. She is an ardent, amazing supporter of the veterans. You could hear it today. And the beauty of what she said is it hits every one of us in this room, and she can do something about it. I am extremely gratified she's taken time today, shared the remarks about what's happening on the veterans front. We're going to hear another piece of that here in a few minutes, but I am extremely grateful for those remarks. Thank you. Now, we do have a gift, modest, if you will, and literally only about 24 hours old since they were made, since our donations only came in recently. And I am very, very thankful for those who donated, and let me certainly acknowledge those folks in a moment. But I'd like to present to Congressman Waters both our Veteran Affairs Commission mug and a unstained Veteran Affairs mouse pad. Thank you. I'll kind of just continue some of the remarks we heard, and I'm not looking to personalize this very much, but I served 32 years, plus 4 years in ROTC. I was commissioned in 1970, and I served on active duty. Then I joined the reserves. I was mobilized just a few weeks after 9/11, and I came back in May of '02. After that mobilization, I left right after Thanksgiving, November of '01, I'm sorry. And when I came back, there was nothing in place to take care of people returning who were reservists. No way to get medical benefits, educational benefits. Nobody even knew what to do. I interacted at the time with my congresswoman, who was Jane Harmon, whose office tried to figure out what to do with people returning from deployments who were not on active duty. And eventually, after about 29 days, they determined that I was entitled to 30 days of medical care, and I had 1 day left to get a surgery that was recommended in my retirement physical. So it was a challenge back then. But it's people like Congresswoman Waters, it was certainly for me, Congresswoman Harmon, and others that have helped us in the struggle I think we've had from the veterans, for veterans. And we do have another presentation. Avelino, if you would come up. George, you're setting that up. Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel. Again, Mayor, Council, and Congresswoman, thank you so much for the remarks. Once again, my name is Zabelina Valencia, and I'm here honored on behalf of State Senator Isidore Hall, who represents the 35th Senate District. Unfortunately, our district consists of about 13 communities in other cities, so the staff is currently running around throughout the district trying to attend other veterans events and doing our due diligence to attend as many as we can. Nonetheless, he would like me to present a certificate of recognition to the Veterans Affairs Commission and the City of Hawthorne, which reads, on behalf of the state of California and the 35th Senate District, I thank you for celebrating Veterans Day. Our veterans serve this country. Our veterans' service to this country is to be commended and recognized. Thank you for all that you have done. God bless. Signed, State Senator Isidore Hall, 35th Senate District. Thank you.
So our next speaker is going to be joining us electronically, if you will. through the support of the IT department in the city of Hawthorne, which is part of the police department, we've been able to establish this communication with Vincent Kane, who I'm going to introduce here momentarily. Vincent Kane was appointed Special Assistant to the Secretary of Veterans Affairs on March 9th of 2015. He directly reports to the Secretary of Veteran Affairs and is concerned predominantly with the activities of the West LA VA Medical Center. Prior to this, he was the Chief Operating Officer at the Lebanon VA Medical Center. He served in multiple national, regional, and medical center roles in the past 15 years with the Department of Veteran Affairs. He was also Director of Veterans Health Administration, the National Center on Homelessness among Veterans. He's been instrumental in building collaborative and innovative care models with federal, state, and community partners to meet the housing, health care, and service needs of veterans. Prior to this, he was the VHA's Veteran Center somewhere here. He brings a wealth of clinical experience, global perspective, and a proven track record of building community partnerships to the care of veterans. He's a graduate of Bryn Mawr School of Social Work and Social Research, 25 years of experience as a clinician, educator, and administrator. He has multiple publications in peer-reviewed journals, and in 2012, he was a member of the Veterans Affairs and Housing Urban Development Team, awarded the Samuel Hyman Citizen Service Medal for their efforts to end homelessness. Let's welcome Vincent Kane, who I believe we're going to connect to momentarily. Let us welcome Vincent Kane.
Hi, everybody hear me okay?
Perfect, Vincent. I've done the intros.
Great.
You're following Congresswoman
Well, thank
Waters,
you.
who spoke about things.
I want to start by just making a couple remarks about Veterans Day and then move quickly into the presentation. So, on Veterans Day, our nation pauses to honor all the men and women, past and present, who have fought its wars and stood watch around the world to ensure our peace. Veterans Day is a time to remember, to recognize, and express our gratitude. We remember the services and sacrifices of veterans who have gone before us and thank them, as well as remembering those that are currently serving and still active in the military, because these are the men and women that are preserving our freedoms. Veterans Day is really the perfect day and time for us to encourage our young, to teach them about the selfless example that our veterans show in sacrificing for the common good. Today, when we look around our country, less than 1% of Americans wear the uniform of our nation. And yet the sum of their service to us is beyond measure. They guarantee our safety. They pledge to stand up to any who would harm us. They and their loved ones ensure hardships that are overwhelming for many. Our rights and our privileges are their gifts to us. We need to make sure that as we go forward, particularly in Los Angeles, that we give back to the veterans. And that today's presentation is talking about precisely that, is how do we give back to the veterans, particularly those that are the most disadvantaged, those that have experienced homelessness. How do we make sure that the 388-acre campus located in West LA really becomes a home for those veterans and a 21st century state-of-the-art healthcare facility for all other veterans, whether they need inpatient or ambulatory care. And so today I want to spend a minute or two talking to you a little bit about what's been going on around a process that's been called the master plan, which is the Secretary has asked that we work with an urban planning firm to look at that campus. sort of noting that really over the past 40 to 50 years, that campus has fallen into disrepair. And that when it was originally established back in 1888, it was set up as a home, a vibrant community where veterans could come, interact with each other, interact with their families, get health care, and get other supports. Somewhere along the line, that deteriorated. Not only did that deteriorate, but services, particularly to the homeless, had deteriorated. And so the Secretary wanted to make sure that that never happened again. So we hired a firm that looked at how could we revitalize that campus. And over the last 4 months, we've been working with veterans, other stakeholders, elected officials, similar to Congresswoman Waters, to talk about how do we change this campus. The plan was submitted, and I should underline it's a preliminary draft plan, was submitted on October 16th. But when it was submitted, the Secretary said pretty quickly that, this is really good, we hit the target, but, you don't get to do a master plan all that often. And that in doing a master plan, you really need to make sure that the veterans and the veteran community have ample time to review it. And so he wanted the plan to go into the Federal Registry for a 45-day public comment period. And so it's there now. And it's the chance for veterans, neighbors, key stakeholders, anyone in Los Angeles, or frankly, anyone around the country can look at that plan and give comment to kind of say, does the plan make sense, not only for the veterans today, but for the veterans 15 to 20 years ago, 15 to 20 years from now. So what we're going to talk a little bit about today, and hopefully everybody has some slides in front of you, you can look at what is a master plan, and it really focuses on the physical aspects of that campus and how could they be revitalized to better serve veterans. What sits next to the master plan are some processes that we have in place that have been focused on how do we not only just improve the land and the building that are on those lands to make it a home, but how do we also improve the services? You won't see the plan really focus on the services. There's a separate group that's working on the services next to the physical changes to the plan. The intent is, as after this 45-day public comment period, we in the VA will look at those comments, address them, and update the plan. Once that plan is updated, it moves from being a preliminary draft to a draft that goes to the Secretary. Secretary will then make comment on it. We will proceed with some other legalities related to master planning that have to do with are we meeting all the environmental or the historical aspects of a revitalization? Will we go through that process, make sure that it's vetted properly there so that it eventually can move from being a concept and a blueprint to the actualization and the initiation of the revitalization of the campus. The plan is really organized in a pretty simple and clear way. It looks at that 388 acres and says the campus should be broken down into 4 zones. Zone 1 on your slides focus on the medical science aspect of the campus. That's where the main hospital is. It's building 400, or 500. That's considered Zone 1. The idea going forward is that's where all the medical services will be. So your acute care services, your specialized outpatient programs, your research, the whole medical science section of the campus will be situated in Zone 1. Zone 2, which is sort of migrating to the north side of the campus under Wilshire Boulevard, that's what's called the Care Coordination Zone. Presently, we have some transitional housing programs, some residential treatment programs focused on helping veterans that have experienced trauma, veterans that may be struggling with addiction or other serious mental illness. They get some care there. That zone is intended to be expanded to have more robust treatment services, focused not only on the veteran, but on the veteran family, have some specialty services there, particularly for female veterans, because it's been identified that in the plan right now and the way we currently practice, there's not a single building set aside for the specialty needs of female veterans. So that section will contain those types of resources. Zone 3 is really designed to be focused on housing. Back when the campus was originally deeded to veterans, there were homes on that campus. Currently, there are no homes on the campus. The intent going forward with appropriate legislative authority is that we would like to put homes on the campus. And the housing on the campus will focus on the most needy, the most disadvantaged veterans. So we're looking at the aging veterans that have experienced homelessness, extreme forms of poverty, female veterans with dependent children, excuse me, veterans with chronic mental health conditions, all would be provided housing on that campus. We've done some surveys, we've reviewed data, and the indications are that at least for the first phases, we would be looking at a need for between 700 and 900 housing units on that campus. And so Zone 3 would have that. Zone 4 is kind of intended to be open green space as well as recreational space on the campus. So fitness centers, walking trails, amphitheaters, ways where veterans can recreate with each other, focus on well-being, socialize with each other. Those things would all occur in Zone 4 of the campus. They have a sort of main road that they call the Green Road that acts as the connector throughout the campus, linking those different zones to the benefit of the veterans. The plan does include revitalizing some of the roads there, making it easier to navigate, changing the signs and making it clear what buildings contain what services, taking like services and putting them in the same geographic areas so that the campus is more easily navigated by veterans and veterans' families. So that's really the intent of the plan. The details will follow based on this feedback period and our continued dialogue with you in trying to make sure that campus is truly revitalized to be what one would expect to be a 21st century state-of-the-art medical facility and home to care for the men and women that served our country. So with that, let me pause to see if there's questions or comments. My intent today was to be fairly brief, to give you the overview. I know many of you have gotten copies of the PowerPoints, which are 11 pages. I think I kind of summarized them in my brief remarks. And now I would like to kind of turn this over to you to answer any questions or concerns, or kind of help make sure that each of you know how to put your comments into the Federal Registry. The registry will stay open through December 7th, and it really will be at that time that we in VA will take those comments, address them, respond back, but more importantly, update the plan to get it to the Secretary by the beginning of the calendar year so he can make decisions about how to advance this blueprint for revitalizing that campus to be a home for our veterans. So I apologize. I don't know if you're set up for questions or answers, but I figured my job today more than any other time was to really listen and get your feedback.
Vincent, this is Neil Gaffney. I know you can't see me because of where I'm situated, but I will ask a question that's perhaps a little biased based upon my fact that my employer is UCLA. I've had the opportunity in the last week on 3 occasions, including yesterday's Veterans event, to hear the Chancellor speak about the relationship he's developing with the VA in order to provide a variety of additional services. Can you comment on that relationship? And obviously they're a tenant, and there's been some issues about tenant occupancy.
Yeah, so, I mean, a controversial area on the campus, and it's been for years, is that UCLA's Jackie Robinson Stadium has been there, and also the Brentwood School has been there, and that veterans, feel that that land was exclusive for veterans. What we've noted was that, as it pertains to UCLA, we have a 70-year history with UCLA. And they're what we call our academic affiliate. So they help us, and this is a core mission of VA, to train future physicians, residents, and to assist us in how we provide health care to our veterans. I mean, It's part of our core mission. It's part of their core mission. They're our primary academic partner. Secretary is pretty clear that as we go forward and think about VA and what we want VA to be, those partnerships are vital. But we also heard in the outreach that we did over the summer that many veterans feel that UCLA has not done as much as it could. And in fact, I hope the chancellor said yesterday that he recognizes they've not done as much as they could. And so based on that, we've sat down and they've been working on plans to enhance services to be delivered to veterans, including more care for veterans that have experienced trauma and mental health, traumatic brain injury, addiction services, specialty services for female veterans and families, and that they're talking about making sure that they do more, and that really at the end there'll be proposals that are submitted, and the secretary will look at those proposals with the chancellors to see if that's enough for us to continue the partnership in a way that's beneficial to veterans. And it has to be very clear that what we do going forward is putting the veteran first and making sure that we're focused on the veterans. The good news is UCLA is very engaged in that dialogue. They're clear in saying they can and want to do more, and they recognize that in the past they haven't been as focused on the veteran as they could be. So that's where the discussions are now. We hope to have those discussions wrapped up at the same time that comments come through for the master plan, so that sometime in January we can sit with all of you and say, this is where we are, this is where we're headed, this is how we're going to get there.
Thank you. And yes, I have heard those comments specifically. We're going to do more.
Good.
Thank you. We have time for a couple of questions, if we have any. Yes. You got to come up here to the microphone.
Yes, good morning. My name is Lethelle Williams, and I'm here to help keep my community healthy and build a better community. However, we have a lot of land and property here in our community, and we would love to welcome anyone that's interested in building a veteran center or apartments for these wonderful veterans that we have. Do you know anyone that could work with our city on pushing that forward?
Yeah, can you just hold 1 second? I'm sorry.
While Vincent's answering the door, he was actually planning to be here today in person, but he works for the Secretary of the Veterans Administration, which is a cabinet-level official, so he was remanded back to D.C.
Sorry about that. I've been running around all day, and I finally got home to do this, and the doorbell rings. Yeah, I mean, we can get folks from the medical center to be in touch with you. When we talk about housing and creating homes on the campus, we obviously need to do the same in the community. Not everybody wants to live on the campus. The campus has never been designed for every veteran to live there. The hope is that those that do live on the campus need the medical intensity of the services and the proximity to those services to avoid premature institutional care. So we have programs like HUD-VASH that provide housing to veterans in the community. We have staff that run those programs. Then I can make sure that we follow up with you, and somebody from the VASH program can come out and talk about what are the possibilities in working more closely in the Hawthorne community to help with housing and services for our veterans in Hawthorne.
Thank you, and I know that Commissioner Orleman has been intimately involved with that aspect of it with you and your staff, so we're looking at pursuing that discussion further.
Good.
Any more? One more question before we move on? Okay, I think that's it. Vincent, I'm deeply appreciative of you taking the time on obviously a national holiday and a holiday for you, and taking time from your home to share with us your comments. We have the PowerPoint here. I think everybody's been able to follow along, and I'm sure you'll be seeing us involved as you move towards that public comment.
Well, I'd like to just make one other comment. I've been thoroughly impressed at how your community has been engaged. I think you've been represented at every town hall meeting when there have been specific meetings for veteran service organizations. Representatives from your community have been there. You've really engaged every step of the way, and I know our veterans are going to be better off because of your involvement. So I can't thank you enough as a community for your engagement, and I look forward to your continued participation and leadership as we together try to revitalize this campus. So I'm grateful that you invited me to speak with you today on Veterans Day. I had a meeting in central Pennsylvania earlier this morning, partly why I wasn't able to join you directly, but again, you found a way to kind of connect us regardless, and I'm extremely appreciative. I'm grateful to all the veterans in the audience. Thank you for all that you've done and for what you're continuing to do to help our veterans, particularly our homeless and disadvantaged veterans that need that campus to really kind of truly be home. So thank you. Thank you for your tremendous work and all that you do for veterans.
And as we leave, Vincent, we have a little gift, which we know you'll be here next week. Commissioner Orleman, I'm sure will be presented. That's our Honorary Veteran Affairs Commission mug. Thank you again for taking your time today. Very much appreciated.
They probably tell you I'm a coffee drinker, so thank you. I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I want to just mention something that Vincent Kane mentioned regarding our involvement in this effort, and specifically our Vice Chair, Kyle Orleman, has been intimately involved on a weekly basis, has had numerous opportunities to meet Mr. Kane, has also met the Secretary of the Veterans Administration, and we spent time this past week with a deputy to Mr. Kane who is here in L.A. He is also attending a veterans ceremony today. He couldn't be here with us. But the ability to coordinate this and put this together, whether in person or certainly via Skype, was very, I think, helpful for us to understand what's going on with the West LA Center. Kyle Orleman is also working with our officials here in Hawthorne for the possibility of some VA direct work within the city boundaries. So again, much commendation to Kyle for the effort she's put in and helping make this stuff happen. Here we go. A few notices of appreciation, if you will. This event has really been put together by a commission that meets the second and fourth Wednesdays of every month. So we get together for about 3 hours a month, maybe 3.5 hours. We are, as I said, a fairly new commission. This event isn't possible without the help and sponsorship of some people I want to recognize. The city, as you know, is going through some significant financial struggles. We have not asked the city to help us. We are not in a budget, but we have been provided a number of very generous donations, and the first one came from Century Housing. Brian DeAndrea provided us a $500 donation. Sponsors are, by the way, are on the back of your program, and I just want to refer to that. We also have Vietnam Veterans of America, who sponsored $500, and Wounded Heroes of America gave us $200. The VFW has provided all the drinks that you will have momentarily, and the leftover money from what we just collected has gone into the prizes we're going to raffle off here in just 1 minute. So I really want to express a sincere thank you and gratitude to all those who stepped up, helped make this happen. Maybe when we do this again, we'll have the ability for people who also continue to donate, because it makes it a lot easier. So thank you all. And lest I forget, Councilwoman Olivia Valentine also provided part of her stipend. So while that's all encouraging, let me turn it a bit somber for just a moment. We are a commission of 5 commissioners. The names are on the bottom of your program, I think on the inside page. You've had a chance to see and hear, and you will meet Commissioner Orlemont, Commissioner Lester, Commissioner Steinhauer, and myself during the social period momentarily. Our fifth commissioner, Commissioner Robert Clutsley, unfortunately couldn't be with us. He's been undergoing a number of surgeries recently, and we learned yesterday he passed away on Sunday. So it's very unfortunate. I would ask you to keep him and his family in your prayers and thoughts, as he moves on in the cycle of life.